Hi all, this is May and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. So today I am building 3 houses on one lot in Oasis Springs for my save file. So all the houses here are going to be quite similar in style, but with different exterior shapes and interior styles. And it's been a long time coming because I started this build like maybe 2 months ago or so, and I just got to a point where I put it aside to focus on other newer builds. And this has been happening a bit more often recently with my larger builds, especially when I get to the interior part. I kind of lose the spark a bit, so I needed to take a break and just come back another day to see if the problem had been resolved. And sometimes when that happens, it doesn't. Like, the problem is still there, so my brain just sometimes wants me to build something new. So yeah, I'm really happy that I'm finally done with this build and I can show it to you all and talk about it here. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure what to call this style, but I have seen similar houses in a sort of Adobe style, so that's what I'd like to call today's houses, but do correct me if I am wrong though. I did make a bit of a similar budget home just across the street from here, which you can also find in my save file builds playlist here on YouTube if you haven't checked that out already. But yeah, I made that one around the time Lovestruck came out, so it might have been even longer than 2 months that I started the 3 houses here, now that I think about it. So I was inspired by the previous house and its style, and then I just wanted to kind of continue in the same style here as well. So I was thinking this whole area or neighborhood might be in this style, or there might be like a nice mix. And it might have been developed around the same time as a way to make people move here to Oasis Springs. And the houses are quite fancy as well, if I do say so myself. They're very clean and white on the outside, but more modern, and some more colorful than others. And I especially love how the first house turns out, but I think they're all nice and I hope you will think so too once we get to the end of this video. All of the houses will have their own small outdoors areas, kind of like a fenced in area, and some will just have some tables outside to sit and have a coffee, converse, that kind of a thing. Then I wasn't too sure what to do about the outside space for the lot here, since this is a 40 by 30, so we do have quite a lot of space to work with. So I just added the usual trees, plants, cacti, some stones, and then I lined up a pathway going from the front of the lot where the road is to each of the houses. And then in one area I thought it was a cute idea to have kind of like some kids stuff, like the monkey bars and a swing set, along with a couple of benches. So just a cute outdoors area. And none of the households here actually have kids old enough to hang out there, but one of the families has an infant, so they would be able to use it at a later point. And it might just be that they get some family members over sometime so they can take advantage of that outdoors area to, you know, just have the kids play and let out some energy. So I do have households for all the different houses here. The first house I'm working on, the house on the left side of the lot, is going to be for Nina and Katrina Caliente, so daughter and mom. So Dina is left out this time because I have already made her a new house for her and her husband. So Dina's storyline is a bit different in my save file, but the same goes for Nina and Katrina because they are going to have new careers, new outfits, and an overall look, as well as storylines. And I'll get into that in just a bit. There's also going to be a smaller house that's going to be on the right hand side of the Calientes, which is going to belong to Don Lothario. So if you're familiar with the Caliente household in the default base game save file, you'll know that the Calientes and Don, they actually live together in the same household. But I really wanted to split them up this time. It just felt like it made more sense. So technically they still live on the same lot, but in different residential rentals, because that's what this is going to be if you have the for rent pack. The last house in the back is going to be for one of my own original families, actually, consisting of Destiny, Batist, Zachariah, Burlson, their infant child Jerome, and Zach's elderly mom, Carla. So both Destiny and Zachariah are in the active career. So one is in the bodybuilding branch and the other in the professional athlete branch. And I usually never have two partners in the same career, but this time I leaned into that whole storyline. And I think I'll actually just jump right into it and start with the Caliente girls and talk more about them, what they're like now in comparison to their, previous versions, and I'll show you their makeovers as usual. So I will be decorating their house first, but before that I did all the house shells just to figure out how they were going to be and where they were going to be placed. But yeah, the Calientes. So in the original save file, when you load up a new one, there are actually more, as I said, like people living in the Caliente household. There's Nina, Dina, Katrina, and Don Lothario, and their original storyline is that all the girls are kind of flirting with Don, or at least Katrina is, like it's hinted at, but I don't think they actually have romance in the save file, now that I think about it. So I'll keep some of that storyline, but once again, I've split up the household. So Nina and Katrina will be still living together, and there's not really a particular reason why I decided to keep them together, because I could have separated them as well. And I mean, I did think about it. I even thought about just not having Katrina in the save file because, well, mostly because of the Sims 2 lore. And Katrina is not a part of that lore, it's just Nina and Dina. But I decided against it in the end, and I just thought it was a bit different than the other households in the save file so far, so I just kept Nina and Katrina together, like mom and daughter living together. And as I mentioned earlier, Don Lothario will be living in the next door house. So if you have the for rent pack, this lot will be a residential rental with different housing units. So technically they still live on the same lot, but not together, So Katrina, the mom, has gotten a makeover, they all have, and I'll show you her new look here on the screen with a lot of the pre-mates in the save file. I will give them makeovers, new careers, new stories and all, because I will be using majority of the packs and I want to take advantage of that, but I will not be using any of the kits or Journey to Batu. So there's a lot to choose from career-wise, the different worlds, all the clothing, and different gameplay features. And yes, so Katrina is actually in the entertainment career originally, but I didn't really get that vibe from her, so instead I decided to make her into an interior designer or decorator. I can't really remember the exact name of that career that comes with the Dream Home Decorator game pack, but that career. And she's pretty high up there, maybe level 5, I think, so halfway to the top. I might even level her up even more, to be honest, but I kind of want you to work on her career a bit as well. Like, I don't want to do it all for you if you do decide to play with this household, but at least I was thinking that she had been doing that career for quite a while, but it might not have been what she started out with. She might have been a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years as well, and there's not really a lot of lore on the girls' dad, from what I know, at least not in The Sims 4. So the dad is more like a mystery, but I kind of came up with this idea that he might have ran away when the girls were younger, or he passed somehow. I actually haven't given it too much thought, but at least he's not in the picture at the moment. So I feel like Katrina has been a single mom for a while, and at some point she needed to start working to support her daughters, so she's probably been a bit here and there for jobs, and then she eventually settled on the interior decorator career. And there might have been like a man here and there as well that she has been living with, because Katrina is a romantic, but she might not have been very lucky romance-wise, seeing as she is also a jealous sim, so those two traits don't necessarily go that well together. But she is also family oriented and she has been there for her kids, even though I kind of feel like Nina and Dina might not have had the best relationship with their mom for various reasons growing up. But if there is one thing Katrina wants, it is to settle down with someone eventually, with her soulmate, if you will, seeing as she does have that aspiration, the soulmate one. But yeah, she's gotten a bit tangled into this Don Lothario mess, and Katrina definitely has a thing for him. They've probably been flirting a bit outside, like by their houses, and little does she know that Don is also flirting with Nina, her daughter. And much like her mom, Nina Caliente is a jealous sim. She's also nosy and high maintenance. So I totally do believe this whole flirting situation will get revealed in the end because Nina likes to snoop around and discover secrets. So the nosy trait is a trait that comes with the friend pack. And Nina's bedroom does have a view of Dawn's house as well. So if she pays enough attention, she will notice a thing or two about Dawn's behavior. Nina also has the villainous Valentine aspiration, which does involve getting caught cheating, to have several exes, and to break up other couples. So there's definitely a lot to dig into there for sure, and I've never really delved into that myself doing gameplay like that aspiration, but I thought it could be interesting for Nina. And she actually did get that aspiration in the makeover update for the Calientes. So it was not even my doing. That's just what the Sims decided for her. But something I did choose for her though is that she likes mischief. I think she actually has like a few skill points in the mischief skill, and it kind of goes hand in hand with her aspiration, and I totally see her just being on the Cupid's Corner app all the time, going on dates, or just finding someone for a quick woohoo session maybe. And going a bit more over to Nina's career, she used to be unemployed before, but I've decided to make her into a salary person, which is a career coming with a Snowy Escape pack. It is similar to the business career, but it follows more of a Japanese structure than a Western one. So Nina probably travels a lot back and forth between Mount Komaribi, where she works from home a lot. And I haven't really decided on which branch she would eventually go into if she decides to continue in this career path. But between the expert branch, where programming is needed, and the supervisor branch, where charisma is needed, I would probably imagine the latter to be more fitting for her personality. And along with mischief, Nina is also into writing, and I do think you need that for this career. So yeah, definitely a lot to unpack with this household. And lastly, they do have a cat. I gave them a Bengal cat named Luna, so I've made sure to include the food bowl, a big tree, like cat tree thingy, and a litter box, I hope. I actually got a bit unsure there, but I'll make sure that there is one at least if I have forgotten. The Caliente's house is going to be very light with some beiges, whites, and some soft browns, but there's also like this pink, purple kind of color that will go through almost all of the rooms, sort of as a red thread. I absolutely love how this interior turns out. It's very much a style I adore, same with all the colors I've used. And I'm not too sure what this style would be called, but it's very soft yet fancy, like luxurious at the same time, with some golden accents and some wickered textures, almost a bit soft boho maybe. And I definitely think Katrina would have decorated their home, of course, and yeah, it's not the biggest house. It kind of looks bigger on the outside, I would say, but it will have all the necessities such as the living room, kitchen, a bedroom for each of them, 2 bathrooms, and then there's going to be an extra office for Katrina for her to work on her job. And we're just now seeing it all come together here, and I feel like I was really in the flow once I figured out what I wanted to do for them, because I wasn't too sure at first, and then something just clicked, and here is the result. And moving on, I'll talk about Don Lothario. And you've already probably drawn a certain picture of Don from what I've previously said about him and his escapades, but there is more. So their whole storyline and dynamic is kind of complicated because Don is having a bit of a flirt with both all the Caliente ladies across the street here, and they're both unaware of it. But at the same time, Dawn has been out and about, being messing around, which has led to Zoe Patel ending up pregnant. So Dawn is actually a baby daddy now. But he's the kind of sim who wouldn't be interested in participating as a parent. I mean, he would probably know of the pregnancy. Zoe must have told him, but I mean, they probably just met randomly one day and they did a bit of woohooing. But yeah, he's not ready for that commitment. He probably never will be, unless you decide to change that, of course, if you play with him. But he is non-committal and he is a serial romantic. So he's not the kind of person who would settle down. He'll forever be a bachelor in my mind, and that's a dynamic that I wanted to include in my save file as well. It's kind of realistic, you know, it certainly does happen in real life, and I want to have that kind of variety in my save file. But yeah, continuing with the rest of his traits, he is romantic and self-confident. So I actually didn't change any of his traits. And as for his career, he's originally unemployed. I think he's supposed to be like a pool boy or something in the original save file. But I was going to put him in the culinary career as a mixologist at first. And then I thought of the criminal career because I don't have anyone in that career yet. And I think Dawn's style kind of fits that whole vibe, to be honest. So yeah, I decided to switch it, and it could explain why his house is looking so nice. Like he has some secret money, probably. And as you'll see later on, he's just having a random bag of money lying on top of his bedroom dresser, for example. So he's level 5 in the criminal career. He probably started out when he was younger as a teen, being up to no good, being mischievous, and it probably got him into some trouble, which led to him being in the criminal career. And I feel like he didn't do so well in school either. So maybe he's a high school dropout, which is an actual thing in the game if you got high school years. So I could probably cheat it that he has the trait that comes with that whole experience, that he doesn't have his high school diploma, because there are certain things you won't be able to do, like do certain jobs in the game or apply to universities, I think. And it kind of makes sense for Don here and his choices. And yeah, I showed you the new makeover of Dawn earlier. I do believe he looks better now than he did before. He fits his traits, I think, and he also has this like big tattoo on one of his arms. It's this freezer bunny that looks like it's into some suspicious business, like the criminal career, and like along with some flower, I think, as well, if I remember correctly. And I think that tattoo was added to base game not that long ago, and to me, it just screamed Don Lothario. And other than that, he wears a lot of like loose fitting clothes. It is Oasis Springs after all, and I imagine it would get very hot here. But still, I think he has a fashionable style. I also added a pet for Don. I felt the need to add a companion for him, so he has Rocky, a boxer dog. And you know how people say that sometimes the pet and its owner look alike, and for some reason I feel like Dawn and Rocky match each other, like visually at least, because I think Rocky is a cutie. I think he's a good boy, unlike Dawn. So Rocky will get this big pet bed in Dawn's bedroom, and actually, speaking about Dawn's bedroom, so I decorated Dawn's house over on Twitch, and let me tell you, when we got to Dawn's bedroom, things got a bit out of control because it was looking very tigery. Like, I had the tiger heart bed from Lovestruck, there was the tiger wallpaper, and there was like a jungle wallpaper. We had the tiger rug from Get Famous, and it just got too much at one point. But I was kind of like entertaining the idea still, and it was fun, I have to admit. I did want to make it work, but after stream I decided to tone it down just a tiny bit. I mean, I said, like in my stream, I remember I said it was probably going to be changed. We all knew it was going to happen at one point or another. So instead I went for the snake skin wallpaper, I think I will call it. as an accent wall, and just like a sleek but dark bed, more neutral colors. And there's just like a lot of browns, grays, and blacks in Dawn's house. This is the smallest house of the three. So there's just the regular rooms. We have the living room, a dining space in one room. I am surprised I had enough space for that actually. And then you have to walk through the kitchen to get to Dawn's bedroom, which is probably not the best floor plan, but I went with it anyway, and it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, you know? I feel like some realistic or like floor plans in real life, they're not always good either, you know what I mean? So that's a bit about Dawn, and then I'll talk about the last household, and they are the Batist-Burlson family. So this family consists of some of my own original Sims, and they're quite an active family. So first of all, we have Destiny Batiste. She's an adult, and she's the one who's in the bodybuilder branch of the active career, which means that Zachariah, or Zach, as I'll call him, he is in the professional athlete career. So Destiny and Zach, they are married, but Destiny decided to keep her own last name. I very well could have put their names together with like a hyphen, but then I realized their last name would have been too long for the Sims' liking. Like I couldn't put it in, all of it. So then I decided to just keep it separate. I don't usually do that, but perhaps Destiny wanted to keep it for work purposes, and it's not like married couples how to share last names in real life either. So I don't usually have both of the partners in the same career either actually, but I thought it would be a cute idea for them to have met through work, because that is something that indeed does happen in real life as well. And then they got Jerome a bit later on in their life. They're both adult Sims now, and they have both been very career driven and focused on that rather than starting a family together. And Zach has been quite adventurous as well. He has the adventurous trait, and I just imagine they would very often go to Mount Comaribi, and he would do like snowboarding, rock climbing, those sorts of sports and activities. And I just imagine them going away for vacations a lot like that, and perhaps even to Solani to get to the warm weather and pretty environment there. I also chose to give Destiny the loner trait. I can't remember if I've given anyone that trait yet out of all the Sims I've made. So I thought it was about time, and she just likes her alone time, you know, except for being with her family. And she's also very into healthy food. So I thought I would give her the health food, not lifestyle from Snowy Escape. I feel like I always forget about the lifestyles. Around the time when we got the lifestyles, they bugged out for a little while, at least from what I've experienced. And I remember my Sims would get the workaholic lifestyle literally all the time. It could very possibly still be happening, but I think I do still get the single and loving it lifestyle more than the workaholic one, actually. However, back to the family here. At one point, Destiny and Zach felt like the time was right to expand their family, and thus they got a Jerome, this wriggly little boy. So he has the wiggly infant trait, and I feel like he'll probably follow in his parents' footsteps of being like a very active kid and adult. And after they got him, that's when Zach's mom came into the picture and decided to move in with them to help with the grandkid and housework. And as Carla Burlson is getting older, Zach wanted to have his mom closer. However, the catch is that Destiny and Carla, they do not get along. So their in-law relationship is quite tense. They don't see eye to eye about probably work and parenting, those sorts of things. And not to mention that Carla is a bit of a snob. So she probably has some high standards, especially about her own son and her grandson. And then Zach is kind of just stuck in the middle between them. At first, I didn't really think about having one of their parents live here. I thought of just having the guest bedroom for when family or friends came over to stay, but then I came up with the whole idea of Carla living here after Jerome came, and then Carla and Destiny not getting along. So the idea kind of started from that, and I had already made the bedroom at that point, so I tried to use some of the same colors for Carla here. Like she has these green fancy pants on, a bit similar to the green blue color going on in the bedroom, and she's a very fashionable modern grandma, if you will, and she takes good care of herself, and she even has this cool tattoo going from her hand and up to her elbow, and she's wearing these golden accessories and nice glasses. And I feel like I use these glasses so often. I think it's the pair of glasses that look the most modern in the game, and I really wish we could get some more glasses and, you know, more modern looking ones too, because it's very rare I use something else. So yeah, we got the modern grandma here. Carla is family oriented. She is a genius and also a snob, as I mentioned. She loves to take photos as well. She uses her phone all the time, and she definitely knows how to use technology. And I feel like she might even get on Cupid's corner herself to go on a date or two. Seeing as I gave her the genius trait, I thought Carla would be a retired doctor. So she used to be a general practitioner at the local hospital. And one thing I've noticed is that when your Sims retire, it doesn't say anything in their career panel. I think it was perhaps in Sims 2 or 3 where there would be like this little description just saying that what they used to work as before they retired. And I really wish it did that in The Sims 4 as well. It does give you a notification every day when it gives you the retirement money, but still. So what I decided to do instead is to go on the phone and go to the option that says to register job at ministry or something like that. And then it gives you the option to type in your own description for a job. So this could very well work for your sim who's doing like independent work as well, such as they're a painter or gardener, anything like that, if you want to have just a little description in the career panel. So that's what I did. I just put in like retired doctor. So then you will actually know that she is a retired doctor. As for this family's house, we got the standard rooms plus an office and a small home fitness studio. There's actually a second entry door to this house on the right hand side, and I was thinking long about what would be fitting to add in that room on that side of the house, and eventually as I was coming up with the Sims for this home, I got the idea to do the workout room. And it is quite small, I have to say, but perhaps either Destiny or Zach, they have these like one-on-one personal trainer sessions, like they are the personal trainer working out with another sim, like training them. So kind of like a side hustle in a way that they could get paid for, and that's of course it's not really like a thing happening in The Sims. It's not a functional feature per se, but I mean I could use the club system from Get Together and add just one or two Sims in a club and add working out as one of the activities they do when they get together. So it could work in that way. And you could also use a cheat or the UI cheats mod if you have that to add extra money to the household funds after the club meeting is over. So, you know, just gotta get a bit creative with it. So yeah, there's a lot of these things you can do with the club system if you get a bit creative. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all about the families. There's just so much to get into when there's multiple houses and families like this, but I hope you enjoyed listening to the different stories I've come up with. And now that I talked about the families, this is a bit like off topic with this whole build, but sometimes I like to talk about other projects I'm doing. And I am happy to announce that I'm finally done with the land grab mansion as well. I'm not sure if I think I've mentioned it in one of my previous speed builds that I was working on it, but I'm really happy with how it came out. I must have been working on that for as long as this one, and the same thing happened, that I just got to a certain point where my inspiration and motivation kind of disappeared and then I started something new instead of finishing what I started. But these days I've tried to go back to a lot of my unfinished builds and finish them up. So the only thing missing is putting together that speed build. And yeah, the line grab mansion certainly is something too. I was standing between the options of either doing a modern house or a Mediterranean house for them, and I leaned more into the latter, so that's what I've done for them, a Mediterranean styled house. And if you've been to my Twitch streams, you might have gotten a sneak peek at the build already, and it's really huge, so it's no wonder it's taking me a long time to finish it up. There's just like so many rooms and I just didn't know where to begin really or what to use all the rooms for. But finally I have finished it up. I have some things left to do. After I was done with that one, I went back to another unfinished build, like big build that I started months and months ago, and that is Judith Ward's mansion. So there's all of these like big builds that I've just put lower and lower on my to-do list, and now I feel like I'm back at it again finally. So yeah, that's a bit about what I've currently been working on, and I'm sure there will be other builds in between those again. And the reason why I'm having all this time to do content creation now is because I currently do this full time. I don't have another like job at the moment, and it just means a lot to me that you're all here watching this video and like all my other videos and supporting my content. It really does help me financially as I'm trying to look for something else. And ideally, I would absolutely love to do content creation full time for longer, but being transparent with you all at this current stage, I'm not able to do that in the long run. So I'm doing what I can at the moment, and I absolutely love making these builds and coming up with all these stories for my save file. Like, this project has really been inspiring me to build and make Sims, and I feel like I've never really, or I haven't made Sims without custom content in such a long time, but once I got started on this project, I've just been kind of hooked in a way, and I just love using all the different packs and seeing all these like different like items that I've probably never seen before and using them for my Sims. And also I remember before I started this save file, I would often struggle to know what to build because there's all of these like endless possibilities. But with this save file, it has made me like a bit more structure. It has given me like all of these specific lots to build and like these specific households to build for. Like, I feel like I have a goal to work towards. And I'm just really happy I can make content out of this and show it to you all as well, like share it, talk about it in more detail, give you my thoughts behind certain decisions, and talk about the Sims I made the build for. And I still have so many lots and worlds to go through. So this is a project I could be working on for years, to be honest. And I started the save file earlier this year, maybe back in March or something, and there's still so much to do, but I'm like always looking forward to doing more of it, honestly. And I love when I'm streaming over on Twitch, we can like talk about all these ideas, we can build together, like the viewers, they can build something themselves along with me, like in their games, while we're just hanging out, having a cozy time and being creative and having fun. And my heart always feels so full when people say I inspire them, which feels a bit surreal. Like, I feel like I am the smallest bean on this planet, just, you know, being silly and building or playing in the games. Yeah, so yeah, thank you so much for watching and supporting my content. I truly appreciate it, and thank you for liking the builds or like the videos that I make and leaving comments, like these really supportive comments. It means a lot to me. And after going off track a bit there, I am currently finishing up the build here and will soon head into the screenshots. There will be a lot of them. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested and up on my gallery. My ID is honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag honeymaysims as well. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today as we built these 3 houses on one lot, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!